This winter has a bit of a different energy than winters in the past. Usually winter, especially on a homestead, can feel a bit like a slow time. A lot of the work that you're doing throughout the spring, the summer, the fall is on the back burner. It gives you this season where you can pause and plan and think through the upcoming year. Because we are getting so near to completing our new old house on our farm way out in the country, we're not experiencing that same slow, restful season. Nearly every morning there is some task to tend to, whether that is making sure we're getting up the right wall material in the right space, that we have enough of everything ordered, trying to figure out what the next step is, which, by the way, is painting and flooring, so I'm super excited. So things are by no means slow, although I try to create that in moments when I can here in my kitchen.
Why? Because it's going for too much. No, it's not that. It's not that at all. Exactly right.
Mom, you should look out and make me because it's like all some. It's orange and it's ice cream.
Oh, that's actually made.
This morning, I am bringing together some dough for sourdough orange cinnamon rolls. This is a brand new recipe over on the blog, but it has winter flavors, also very fresh, comforting, delicious any time of year, but I especially like to make these right now. It's like the regular cinnamon rolls, but just a wonderful little twist on them by adding in some orange juice and some orange zest. I will leave it linked below, as well as the recipe for these marshmallows. So today I'm going to be making some homemade marshmallows. I always say the only redeemable thing about winter is creating a fire, whether that is a fireplace or a wood stove, if you are so blessed to have one of those, or an outdoor fire. You can find us nearly every Sunday, unless it's ridiculously cold, sitting around a fire, trying to get as close as possible so that we aren't freezing. Now, if it's way too cold for that, we'll do some ice skating. That is the other redeemable thing about winter, according to my children anyway. I personally see no joy in it. It's just so cold. But today, Luke and a few of the boys are going to head out to the farm, check in on build progress, do some cleaning up tasks, bring some things out there that need to be out there to keep the project moving along. But while they're there, they're also going to build a little fire and roast some marshmallows. This time of year has a lot of us thinking about New Year's resolutions, how we can better our homes, our health. One way to take our health seriously is by focusing on gut health. And a fantastic way to do that is with Ritual's Symbiotic Plus supplement. And I want to say thank you to Ritual for sponsoring today's video. So instead of just having the probiotics, which a lot of us are familiar with, the Symbiotic Plus is a 3-in-1. So it has prebiotics, probiotics, and postbiotics. Prebiotics support the growth of beneficial bacteria, and postbiotics support the gut barrier function. So all of these things work together for gut health. It is powered by 2 of the world's most researched strains, so 11 billion CFUs of probiotics to give the gut the support it needs for less bloating and better digestion. The delayed release capsule is designed to reach the colon, not the stomach, which is an ideal place for probiotics to actually survive and grow and do all of their great work. There's a lot of things in our daily lives that can interfere with gut health. Poor diet, stress, travel, certain medications, all of that can throw the gut off kilter. That's why it's important to take a supplement like Symbiotic Plus daily. It's just 1 minty capsule a day, so I love that it's an easy thing to add to my routine. It's shelf stable, so it doesn't have to be refrigerated. It can be taken without food, and it's subscription based, so you don't have to worry about running out. Checks all the boxes for something that you can actually accomplish this new year without a whole lot of effort. Symbiotic Plus is now $32.40 instead of $54 during Ritual's New Year sale. Use my link ritual.com/farmhouseonboon40 and my code farmhouseonboon40. I'll also leave it linked down in the description box below. Another recipe I have over on the website that I don't make very often is sourdough graham crackers. Now, I actually make it more often to crumble up and turn into crusts because I lately have an obsession with making cheesecake. I have made just the regular cheesecake, the pumpkin cheesecake multiple times, a peanut butter, like Reese's style cheesecake. I made that for one of our Christmas celebrations. I'm just loving it. And of course, it's way easier to make graham crackers that you're just going to crush up than to actually make them pretty. But that's fun sometimes too. And it'll be a lovely addition to the homemade marshmallows to make s'mores. Those happen. You'll find them.
Okay, they look good. Let's see what I can.
I will get this graham cracker dough into the refrigerator so that it can firm up a bit, makes it a little bit easier for rolling it out, especially when you're trying to make them pretty and into actual graham crackers. That's helpful. One thing that we make in the wintertime, and honestly only really a few times a year in the wintertime because the children specifically request it, is sourdough bread bowls. Now, this is something that I used to make a lot more complicated. If you've been following along on my channel for a long time, and honestly, it's still like this over on my website, farmhouseonboone.com. I haven't taken any updated pictures to show kind of how I do this now, but in my kitchen, things are ever evolving because I'm making food every single day. I'm always finding what steps are necessary and what steps can be skipped without much consequence. Now, there's always a way to do things better, but typically for me, with how often I'm cooking, for how many people I'm cooking for, I'm always trying to make it a little faster, a little easier, finding ways where I can cut corners to make everything just a bit more doable. So, with all that being said, with the sourdough bread bowls, the way that I make them now is actually really easy, straightforward process. It's not a whole lot harder than just making your regular sourdough bowl. So if you have a sourdough bowl that you feel like you've mastered, then double the recipe. That's what I do. I am making my beginner sourdough bread recipe ×2, but doing 2/3 of the flour in whole grain instead of much more of it in all purpose. This is the ratio I found works really well to make a nice crusty, chewy bowl. So I'm doing double the recipe, but then I'm doing all the stretch and folds, everything exactly the same. Later on during the shaping is when it'll be a little bit different, and I'll show you that in a little bit, but it's just truly so easy.
got
I like to make cinnamon rolls all the way through the entire process of shaping and cutting, and then just wrap them up and get them in the refrigerator so they can be baked first thing in the morning, so you don't have to fuss with any of that in the morning. Now, I do that sometimes as well, but I find this to be a bit easier. Now I'm going to show you how I've been making my bread bowls more lately. Now, I used to take each little individual piece of bread, like a little tiny bowl, put it in a bowl as a Banneton basket, but I don't do that anymore. Now I am still shaping them each individually like you would a bowl, putting a little surface tension against the countertop. That really helps with the oven springs so that they're not tiny. But I'm skipping the entire fridge rise. I am just putting them on top of the preheating oven. The heat that is in the oven during that preheating time will cause that second rise to be really, really quick so that I can go from making dough yesterday, doing all the stretching and folding, letting it sit out in my kitchen, to shaping and baking in just like an hour or two. When doing an open bake, so when something isn't baked inside a Dutch oven like this, because you couldn't fit all of them inside a Dutch oven, adding steam to the oven works perfectly. So I will do a preheated cast iron skillet or Dutch oven, add boiling water to it, shut the oven, and it kind of makes an entire steam oven. This works great for baguettes, for bread bowls, really anything where you want that crusty sourdough exterior. You want it nice and brown. You want it to poof up, have that oven spring, but it can't fit inside a Dutch oven. This is the perfect method for that. It works wonderfully. I really love making the sourdough bread bowls this way. It's a really simple, easy timeline. If you don't have space in your refrigerator, you can skip that entirely. I divided mine into 10. That way each person in my family could get a bread bowl because we have 8 kids, 2 of us. I made a bunch of extra soup so they could refill their bread bowl several times with soup, but just giving each person one bread bowl, making a double batch of bread, which for my recipe is 950 grams of flour, translates into 10 nice little bread bowls. Now, if your kids don't eat them all, because some of my kids do, they scrape out the inside, then they kind of add bread to the inside as they're eating it so that they end up eating the bowl, but some of them don't. I scrape out any leftover soup that's in it, then I cut it up, toast it, and blend it and make it into breadcrumbs. It actually tastes really great as breadcrumbs. So nothing goes to waste, not the insides and not what is left over. I made a creamy chicken soup for a comforting winter dish. Well, I hope that your kitchen is warm and cozy this time of year. I hope that you're able to slow down. And if you're not, maybe something exciting is happening, like it is in our home. Plan to share more of the updates very soon. So if you aren't following along, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.